Hey trackies, welcome back to another video here on TXD Track Time. Please remember to like the video and also subscribe to the channel. Though I think this video is probably going to get me a few headaches, but I wouldn't be tea. You asked for me, so here I am. So recently there's been a conversation surrounding fans, and apparently Asafa Paul told Kishane Thompson not to do anything for the fans, and at some particular point in time, I suppose Usain Bolt agreed. No, just want to throw this out there. I didn't watch slash read, slash listen because, yeah, I just think it's a bunch of rubbish. I think it's an outdated, thought. Where some of these, athletes, I think, have little regard for their fan base, and given the fact that we're in the age of social media and what that really means, for whatever future endeavors you may have, and how much support you can really receive. I think it's a wild thing to say don't do anything for your fans, right? And I'm also started to wonder, like, why are we still talking about this in 2024? There's quite a few times where I've heard, and I have to admit, again, every time I hear that he says these things, I never go listen because I think it's rubbish. You know what I mean? I just think, so sometimes Asafa Paul behaves like a man child, you know what I mean? And it's honestly unattractive, and he just needs to sit there and look sexy. But that being said, I did think deeply about, where potentially, Asafa Paul probably, started to feel the way he feel, or why he's feeling the way he's feeling. You know what I mean? And I came to, some interesting, conclusions or thoughts, and I thought I'd share it anyway, even though, as I said, I have zero context as it relates to what was actually said. You know what I mean? I started to think deeply about the time in which Asafa Paul was at his heights, and the fans that were supposedly treating him badly or dragging him. And I'm like, how did Asafa Paul come to the notion that fans are treating him badly, given the fact that there was no social media back then? Like, how? And then I started to think, so wait, are you talking about, journalists, sports journalists writing articles about your performance? Heavy is the head that wears a crown or wears the crown. So there's no way you can be a world record holder and you think that nobody's going to expect anything of you or to perform a particular way. And then when you don't, what you think these sports journalists are going to say nothing? You know what I mean? No, granted, I didn't read any articles back then about Asafa Paul. I can only remember one person really talking about Asafa Poil, and that was Oral Tracy on sports commentary on TVJ. But like, I mean, Oral Tracy was doing his thing, was doing his job, right? Commentating, analyzing performances, and it wasn't just the athletes. From an athletics perspective, track and field. I'm talking about every athlete, right? We're talking about cricket. As far as I'm concerned, the cricketers got it more than everybody else, right? When it comes to the platform sports commentary on TVJ. You have an analyst, you know what I mean? And again, an analyst isn't the fans, right? That is saying to you, okay, this is what happened in your race. You could have did better, or, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Like, that is called holding you accountable. That isn't hate, right? So I'm thinking, so is Oral Tracy / these sports journalists no supposedly the fans? Because last I checked, all the stuff that Paul does get in Jamaica, given that he's my favorite athlete, is love.
How big is Jamaica? How big is Jamaica? I can't understand. Sometimes I just can't understand. How big is Jamaica? Just landed in Miami. Went through immigration already, so I don't have no problem to face the immigration. But yeah, I just want to big up all my Jamaicans. Jamaicans are everywhere. Every time I land in an airport anywhere in the US, there's always some Jamaicans who just come grab me and carry me right to the front of the line and carry me through. Big up to the police officer in Miami who just carry me right through security. I don't even have to stand up in the line. I just carry me right through the line. Jamaicans are always taking care of me whenever I go anywhere. Miami, US, Miami, New York, Fort Lauderdale, always. So just big up all of you guys. But I just want to big up the Jamaicans. Sometimes I feel depressed, feel like, I don't get the support. But there are other times when I feel like I'm the greatest Jamaican ever lived because I use Jamaicans. So I just want to big up you guys.
Last check. When Asafa Paul touches the streets, right, all he gets is nothing but love. You know what I mean? All he gets is love. So it's mind boggling to me that he thinks some way, somehow, that the Jamaicans don't like him, or they're treating him bad, or whatever the case is. I don't really know, because as far as I'm concerned, as I said, he gets nothing but love. Are you going to be criticized for your performance? Hell yes. You know what I mean? And especially given the fact that it was their job, to say, hey, Asafa Paul didn't do what he was supposed to do. I'm not sure why there was an expectation that there was something else that was supposed to be said, unless you're expecting people to be lying to you, and I mean the sports journalists to be lying to you. I mean, now we're in the age of social media, so I guess you'd hear, tidbits here and there where people say, hey, Asafa didn't do what he was supposed to do. But I mean, after a while, people just got over it and moved on with their life. And then Usain Bolt came on, the scene soon after that. And yeah, that's history, in of itself. But it's kind of interesting because, as I said, Usain Bolt also agreed with the notion, allegedly, because I said I didn't listen. But I started to think about that as well, because recently Usain Bolt did an interview where he talked about his exploits before 2008, where he was, pretty much saying, hey, I didn't want to train, or I wasn't training. You know what I mean? Admitted that he's, you literally have to have a camp around you, or a team of people around you that will hold you accountable, right? It's interesting that he says that, because on one hand we have Usain Bolt saying, have people hold you accountable. On the other hand, Asafa Paul doesn't want anybody to hold him accountable, for his performances. And because he was held accountable for it, all of a sudden it suddenly becomes Jamaican fans are awful people, or whatever the case is. I don't really know, or really care, to be honest. But anyway, that being said, and Usain Bolt also did, further say as well, that sometimes you end up lying to yourself. You know what I mean? Sometimes as an athlete, you lie to yourself. And he said he lied to himself, for a while. And then, finally he said, you know what? People keep saying this to me. My coach is telling me that I'm not doing it. I guess I'm hearing from Oral Tracy, as I said, that he's not doing it. Let me try it. And he did it and it worked. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh,
Be true.
But I mean, so with that being said, track is it's kind of interesting to me, as I said, that in 2024, Asafa Paul is still saying these type of things, especially given where we are in the world now with social media. I don't want him to cripple any of our athletes, and especially a young and upcoming athlete like Shane Thompson that has so much ahead of him. And honestly, right now he's becoming a little I don't really want to say it, right? But anyway, he's giving, you know what I mean, exactly what he's supposed to be giving. And what I really like about him personally is the fact that, he right after his 100-meter race in Paris, he literally held himself accountable right then and there, which left literally nobody to say anything. I have not seen one video or article or something that that people are saying things disparaging about Kishane Thompson's performance, because right then and there, yes, we all wanted him to win that gold. He wanted that gold and he didn't win it, but guess what? He held himself accountable right then and there and said, I wanted more. This isn't it. You know what I mean? And that's all she wrote. You know what I mean? I think that some of these athletes, as I said, want you to lie to them, right? And not hold them accountable. And then all of a sudden, when you're holding them accountable, it suddenly becomes, oh, you hate them, right? Or the fan base hates them. Because as far as I'm concerned, the fan base in Jamaica, when it comes to athletes, I'm talking about go outside, touch some grass, touch the real people, them. Forget, online nowadays, or forget, all these things. Just go to the door and hear what the people are saying, and you know how the fans really feel about these particular athletes. So it's just a wild notion to me to say stuff like that. And Asafa himself should know better by now, and just let it go. Let it go. It was what it was. You didn't do what you were supposed to do, and that is it. Move on with your life. As I said, it just becomes kind of unattractive at this particular point. You're just sitting down and bemoaning every single time you speak to an athlete. How you shouldn't pay attention or shouldn't do anything for the fans, when given the fact that the only fans you can really say that to are the Jamaican fans. You know what I mean? Because apparently y'all think very little, of the Jamaican fans. Maybe you think that we won't support, business ventures. I don't know, but it's clear that you think very little of the Jamaican fans, because you won't say that about any other fan base. You know what I mean? Any fan base you have in any other country, you won't say those things to them, but you'd say it directly to Jamaicans, and I don't like it. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's my 2 cents about this whole thing. I think Asafa just needs to let it go, and it is what it is. That is done and gone. The fans love him. Move on with your life. It is what it is. Anyway, Chuckies, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I saw a lot of y'all agreeing, with the fact that Asafa is probably saying, "Don't do anything for the fans." Like, who is filling up the stadiums? You know what I mean? Aren't those fans? Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like the video, of course, and subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.